Howdy guys, it's me again, Enigmatic. We're back. This is January 28th. This is sPvP update number 4, I think. And today we're joined by Blue, Will, Cyrif, and Jebro. Now let me go ahead and unmute these guys, and we'll start the discussion once again.
Ayo!
What
Hey,
a weird
what's
way
up,
to
guys?
say my name, Ken.
Sorry,
Will
Cyrif.
Cyrif.
Will Cyrif.
Oh,
Full name, Will Cyrif.
jeez.
Wilhelm
Wilhelm Cyrif
Cyrif the Third.
von
Esquire.
Braishwitz.
Von Welshman.
Yeah.
Alright.
Doctor.
So, for those of you that are just now watching, again, we had a technical problem, and so
Ken
far
made a
as
boo-boo.
I suck. the technical mishap is I am incapable of like critical thought. So, what happened last time is we were talking about the tournaments. Jebro's reading Freud. Will's had like existential crises or something like that, and Blue is at college. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up where we left off last time, and talk about the tournaments that have happened this past week. Listed on the screen: Good Fights Invitational, Champion of the Mist, ESL Weekly Cup, and the Mistpedia Weekly 2v2. So Jebro, you did the Champion of the Mist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how'd that go?
It was pretty good. We did a different streak because the guys from Guild Wars Too Much, they wanted to do a tournament in January. We wanted to have it monthly, so it's going to move to a monthly tournament: January, February, March, April, May. 12 months of the year, so 12 tourneys, and they're also going to be potentially doing a mini league system, but they're not sure about that as of yet. It's not 100% confirmed, but what happened was we got 8 teams. There's about 3 or 4 teams that we weren't too sure about who they were, which was good. So a couple of new teams. It was like a cheese mode with super, which is interesting. We had Boone in the final versus cheese mode. It was really good. So read it backwards. We're against them, but they came out of like a free warrior comp, and Boone did quite well, but it did get beaten, and cheese mode took the final. But it was like 14k gems in price in cash. That was in cash. If 14k
Wow.
was put off by the camp, then
We're
14k.
we're doing pretty good if we got 14k
Biggest
prizes
tournament.
for
14
season.
cams. 14 full cams.
I could just see the back of my head there. I was like, what the hell? I completely forgot that was the picture on my scope. It's a bit embarrassing. Anyway, yeah, it went really well. I think we had a lot of fun on the stream. But we're going to be hopefully running it from March. We're going to be rerunning it monthly, and the site's getting redone. All the VODs are getting put on there. It's going to be a bit more interactive, and it's going to be more of a just a place where you don't just sign up. You actually watch videos and stuff from previous tournaments. You can look up information potentially, or list different bits and bobs and stuff. So it's quite good. Yeah, it's another source for a tournament rather than just ESL and Mistpedia and stuff. It's good to get some more of our tournaments, and there's the good fights and all that as well. I think Blue had some fun there. We had some fun on Friday night.
We had some fun on Friday.
Yeah,
It was pretty good. I think we did good.
10 out
I'm
of
not
10.
not sure about casting on a Friday night. Friday nights are a bit, it was during the day in NA, so viewers were we had pushed about 250, so it was pretty good Friday night, but I'm not too sure about doing streams on a Friday night, so we're going to change it potentially to a weekend if we can. But yeah, otherwise went pretty good. Yeah, happy.
Good. That's what I like to
Yeah,
hear.
man.
Um,
Friday night streams tend to be like they can be problematic, like Skype is right now.
Cams.
Yeah, we'll get it back up. Please bear with us.
This is
Mine's
weird.
still up. Or no, it's
just
not.
like-
Yeah,
Okay.
see,
It's
like,
weird
so
that
weird.
it keeps doing this. I've never had this do this
Skype
before.
doesn't like us.
Yeah,
it doesn't like over
So-
too.
it doesn't like esports.
Yes.
It's Skype literally killing esports.
Us against the world and Skype.
Yeah. But yeah, Friday night streams can be problematic. Sometimes they aren't. It just really depends on how much like hype you put out for it. Really, which is so hard to do in our scene nowadays as well. Because like it's growing allegedly, but at the same time, our viewer base is kind of, they're not always available Friday nights because important stuff happens. So it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very true.
Oh well. For right now, it's up to us to figure that kind of stuff out. Just gotta keep
Yeah.
trucking. Just gotta keep trucking,
Yeah,
guys.
that's it. We got some good teams in there as well. So the teams could take part. Some of the teams, but not all the teams. Like I wanted 55 HP monks and stuff. But I think it's good to get different teams in. Like it gave an opportunity for other teams that can't play potentially on the weekend because they've got like weekend jobs, like teenage, like 18 to kind of 21-year-olds, I guess, who have got like weekend jobs or something. They can play on a Friday night a bit better. So it was quite good in that respect. So we did have some different kind of teams. There was Otis' team as well, who were had a couple of different mix of guys from different guilds and stuff. So it was good, enjoyable.
All right, and the Good Fights Invitational happened. And
Yes.
there were some awesome plays in that, right?
Should we attempt to reshow the VOD? Or
We're
Like
going
that
to-
499 to 500.
Like the 499 to 500 that we have never talked about, right, guys?
yeah,
wait.
let's just talk about it this time.
All right.
So the VOD will be available over the course of the week at youtube.com/Misspedia. Check it out. It's not up right now, but by the time this video hits YouTube, it probably should be around there. If Blue's on the case, I might end up doing
I'm
the
on
VOD.
the case.
Anyway, so Good Fights versus 55 HP Monks happens. And it's the finals. It's a best of 5, and Good Fights takes the first 2. They're looking to actually take the whole series a 3-0 sweep, which is really unprecedented. It would be something that would no one expected to happen. But 55 HP Monks runs it back, and it goes to Game 4. The very end of Game 4, 55 HP Monks has a 2 cap to Good Fights 1 cap. Good Fights goes and they take the forest creatures, which you'll see here, and now it's getting to the point where it comes down to the ticking of the clock to who gets to 500 first. And at the very last second, well, you'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, not on this one. When you watch the actual thing, right?
Yep.
Yep. There we go. All right. So
Spoilers, I like-
spoilers. Yeah, so that way people can't get too upset.
All right, if you want spoilers.
We left him hanging.
So 55
You have to
HP
leave
Monks
them.
wins Game 4, and then Game 5 is really anticlimactic. Good Fights. They put up a really good tournament, a really good fight, and then the last game they lost like 500 to like 200, I think.
I think it was like 250-ish range, I think, was the
Yeah.
final score, if I remember correctly.
It was on Fire as well,
It was, yeah.
and it wasn't as close as the other games were. That I would have rather seen in the beginning of the match.
Excellent job to 55 HP Monks. So they really pulled it together back at that third game and really started to come back. So that was a really nice job on their part, too. But that fourth game was really close, and there was a couple key plays that might have made the outcome different.
Yeah.
For example,
Are we talking about that, or are we going to leave
mean-
it to people to watch?
Hey,
I mean,
might as well.
yeah,
The
So-
subject we're going to
so
talk
biggest
about later
thing-
is going to be like not that long, I don't think.
Biggest thing that I noticed, if you want to pull up the VOD to try and match me with it, is when Magic Choker tried to go for the chieftain.
yeah.
He made a mistake there somewhere. I don't know if he forgot to put black powder down or he just put it down too early or something like that. But he tries to go for chieftain, and a mistake was made, and the chieftain actually knocks him down. And because that happens, he's actually forced to retreat out of there, and it actually ends up going to the other team. Had he not have done that, he probably could have soloed it, taken that, and that probably would have ended up with Good Fights winning that game there.
Yeah, they would have probably won off the last 2 kills they got. Because at the end of the game, they actually got both force creatures,
Yeah.
and it just didn't matter by 1 point.
Yeah, I found it. I'll just keep talking. I got it.
But
Let me
if
see
you go
I
back
can
to, I
look
think
here.
Game 1, microphone move. Game 1 of that series was Good Fights being ridiculously clutch with their forest creature management. Like it was like the fact
Yeah.
that they were able to
Yeah.
coordinate so rapidly and go and just immediately kill both bosses and end the game. Kind of like it came down to the very, very last chief kill. 55 HP Monks did have people on it, and it was just really lucky for Good Fights that they ended up getting both and ending that game.
Yeah, here it is, guys. So those of you watching at home, he's fighting the chieftain, and then everything goes to hell, and he has to leave.
I'm actually
So-
curious. I want to watch this real quick because I want to see what the mistake was made if we managed to get a camera on it in time.
I don't know, man. My quality is garbage, so apparently I'm dropping some mad frames.
Yeah,
So-
it's looking a little dodgy. All right,
yeah,
let's see.
It's
So
very dodgy. I gave up and switched back to 4cam. So
Okay, so it looks like what ended up happening is I think he forgot to throw the black powder down, and then he misdodged when the axe gets thrown out. When it comes back in, it actually pulls you towards him, and that's where he got knocked down. And I think he misdodged it, and then tried to throw down the black powder, but that was too late. And as such, he took way too much damage, and then tried to run away back over to Henge to get a decap, but then he got chased by that warrior there, and that warrior ended up taking him down because he ended up getting so low from the chieftain belt. He didn't have a heal to come back, and then he just got destroyed by the warrior.
Yeah, like from what I can tell, these matches, these weeks rather, this week, have been like awesome to watch. Like coming home from work and just being like, oh, what do they got? Like, what are the guys up to? And look at them like, oh my god. Like, all right, yeah, I can deal with this. So, anything like future going on, fellas, before we move on to actual discussion?
Future going on for GFI.
Anything.
Or
anything.
In 1.5
Anything.
hours, we got the 2v2 over on my channel.
Yeah,
NA bracket.
Misspedia 2v2 for NA. We've got Misspedia Invitational Open brackets this Saturday. This Saturday, which is preceded by UV Kings of the Mist. I think there's actually 2 slots still open for that, so go sign up for that. That's gonna happen. But most importantly, Misspedia Invitational, big tournament, lasts the entire month. Big announce. Should we? No, we should not announce other things because we did last week. We announced that there's going to be cash at the end of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did we say the amount, or is the amount still?
No, the amount is still up in the air. There is a definite amount that we have right now. Yeah. But we want to increase it.
No.
It's $1 million.
$10 for every time.
No one can see you if you do an action for that.
Yeah, hold on. Wait, where's my? I can't do it anyway. So, yeah,
you
we have.
can do it.
Yeah, but we definitely have a prize pool right now, but we want to increase it obviously. So we're talking to people, and that's why we don't want to give out the exact numbers. But there will be pricing. It's pretty nuts right now. Even without the cash, the prize pool of just in-game stuff and other stuff that we have yet to announce that we should announce this week is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Plus, it also seeds into other things that are coming up as well, and it's just good to compete every weekend, forever.
Forever and ever until
this is like Roman times. Just everybody fight forever.
It's just, are you not entertained?
Let's just make it real life.
Actually, before we segue into this area, Blue, is there anything like GVG coming up?
Yeah. Ironically enough, I have an in-game mail right here. So tomorrow night, I have someone who's like been giving me all these dates for people. All right, so there's a couple pending ones tomorrow night. So I'll probably be doing them tomorrow night, starting at 6 p.m. I think this is starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so it'll be 9 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have Arc versus SE, Pyro versus ? So we don't know who they're up against yet. These are all tentative, by the way, but these is just the general list I got sent for this week. And then at around 8 p.m. there'll be TG versus Kiwi. And then Thursday night there is going to be 3 of them happening: Arc versus Fun, Pyro versus Fun, and then there'll also be a Apex Prime GVG, and that one is supposed to be a really good one. So I'm going to be hopping servers to go do that one.
As someone who has only watched GVG on your stream and has not been up to date on that game, can you explain that? Like, I still don't understand it.
So, I mean, in essence, it's a large-scale team deathmatch. So it was explained to me. I'm still kind of new to it too. So the definition I may be giving.
I've led one, by the way. If you
Jevro, you go ahead and explain it. 'Cause you probably have more in-depth stuff on it than me then, because I just know the very generals of like how it got started and all that.
Basically, this GVG, as we know, it's not GVG in the real sense of Guild Wars 1,
yeah,
or however it was.
It's very different.
Yeah, very different. But they're trying to kind of adapt it. Basically, you started in the World v World map, so down in the south supply camp, around where the windmill was. They used to do Guild v Guilds back in, must be about a year ago now. And they started up, and there was a guild where you could join, and you would do Guild v Guild stuff. And I actually led one. and it was against, I can't remember who it was now, but it doesn't matter. But basically, you have 15 versus 15. It's 12 to 15. It depends on how many people the other guild have.
They also
like,
do 20v20s usually in EU now too. Yeah,
Jesus.
they're doing 20v20s too. Is a pretty popular thing in EU now. Supposedly the new arena makes 20v20s a little bit better to do.
Yeah, as long as people clear out and stuff. But basically, he's right. It's like team deathmatch, but there's different ways of doing it now. People, they either go as a Zerg, or they have like a melee group and a range group. And the range group kind of go around together sometimes with Guardians, and they're running around healing, do combo fields, and they're just ranging in, or everyone just goes together, and they're just, they'll be on comms, and they'll just be like, stack up on me, buff my stacks, blah, blah, blah.
Right now, it's usually like mainly Guardians and Warriors around a team comp. So you'll probably have a large number of Guardians and Warriors, and then you'll have the consistent. You'll have your backline too. That'll consist of Well Necros, Staff Elementalists. You'll also have the occasional Thief getting tossed into the mix too to try and pull people and try to screw them up. Just trying to. Usually the Thief is like, from what I've seen at least, usually the Thief ends up taking the role of like anti-backline. So the Thief will just be in there trying to gank people out that are on the backline and whatnot. And it's just like this very intricate metagame that goes on within it. But it is from a spectator point of view, at least, it's very hard to try and pick out. So that's what I'm trying to do right now, is hopefully trying to improve that. I'm brainstorming a couple ideas with a couple members from Pyro and some other guilds on ways I could try to like directly inject the stream in so that you can see from within the fight. That'll obviously look a lot better and whatnot. But there's just little things like that happen within the large amount of it that actually make it like this very skilled and highly intricate thing that groups have to coordinate, especially on that scale.
You almost need like players that you can mix between. You need like mixing between different cameras, because it's the only way you're going to be able to like to a really, really awesome level. But it's so difficult to watch and actually pick out. I think like if you have team colors, that would help quite a lot. But.
It sounds kind of like I used to run the Planet Side 2 stream at MLG.
It would be comparative to that, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, the way we would observe that is like they had an observer like mode that would allow you to it literally was like getting in a vehicle, except you have no body. You can just fly up above, and you can kind of like zoom in and get some camera shots.
Is that 2? Planet Side 2 or what?
Yeah, Planet Side 2.
Planet Side 2.
I kind of wish that we had, like, obviously they, like Arena has said that there just isn't going to be a free camera mode in PvP for observing.
Yeah,
but for
about WW.
Yeah,
somebody actually proposed this at one point, like just having give certain people like do like a weekly stream or something where kind of like I think the Planet Side stream was sort of like just where like they would just check in on some of the servers and how they were doing, and they would just like have this free cam or something and go over it.
Yeah, I was about to say
that would be a cool idea.
I was about to say something like make it so that way you could buy like a tonic on the gem store so we could like float around and stuff, but then that would be so abused by everybody just to spy on the world. So obviously that can't work.
Yeah, like an ASP for World v World specifically.
Yeah, exactly. That was sick. I mean, it couldn't be too hard to.
Authorized Worldcast.
I don't know.
Yeah.
AWP, ASP. There you go. Grouch ain't in here.
AWP, where like all of the CS:GO players get pissed off because it's the name of the gun or whatever.
Yeah, Grouch ain't in here, so we can't holler at him. We can't yell. Just like,
The thing about World v World is, and it's like I don't know, maybe we'll speak about the new Mists, Edge of the Mist map in a bit, but like there is a lot of, like, I think Blue just said, it's like another little meta kind of in that kind of part of the game, because like Guardians and stuff will use the reflective wall utility and different utilities that we just never see in sPvP. So unless
we saw reflective wall in the GFI and it was pretty good.
Oh god, someone actually used it.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
It's actually
they were using
really
it as like
good.
they were using it as like a res utility at some points, I think, weren't they? They were throwing it on down bodies to like
throwing it down bodies. And in the first engagement on Forest at mid, what they would do is they would actually use it, and the length of it is equal of the length between the statue and mid to the wall. So like all projectiles would not be able to pass that point. Yeah. And so you can get all of your people up there.
We used to use it like in that kind of way in our team, but just as a screw around.
I mean, it used to be a thing, but then it like it was a really big thing when 100 Nades NG was still existing.
Yeah.
It was a really big thing then. But then once 108 energy, it went away again. Now it's sort of being experimented with again. I'm not sure if it's going to make its way into like standard meta or not, though, because I'm not sure if it's like how good it. I'd have to play with it because I'm not sure how good it actually like is, except for those little scenarios where they try to throw it down and counter like lots of projectiles being thrown onto a down body.
Yeah,
I
like
can't remember the cooldown on it. In all honesty.
you're trying to like meta the
It's got
cameras.
a 40-second standard cooldown, I
It's
believe.
not too bad, and you
Yeah.
can. I guess you can. Yeah, you can reduce that.
It's a lot lower than what's it called anyway? A lot lower than Sanctuary. 'Cause Sanctuary's 120-second standard
That's
cooldown.
true.
Um,
That's very true.
but I mean, with classes like the Ranger short bow, just the auto attack on that is so fast. I feel like that plus retail or whatever, fucking that would be such a good way of dealing with it.
That's true.
Well,
But I mean, not that short bow ranger like Spirit Rangers are that hard to deal with nowadays. But
yeah.
Still a pain in the butt.
I mean, to actually get them dead is definitely a pain in the butt.
So since we're sort of on the topic of World v. World, like we've always wanted to like branch out PvP. I think almost every PvPer wants to branch out for PvP and like get people to play with them. But like it just doesn't happen because obviously like if you play 2 matches and you have a bad time, you don't want to do it again. I'm sure eggnog's great. I will never drink eggnog again because I threw up when I had it. Right? It was terrible experience. But I can equate that for a lot of other people that they play something, they have a bad time because everybody on their team is like a gigantic asshole to them. They don't never want to play it again. And likewise, I'm sure people think the same of like GVGs sometimes and sometimes PvE depending on what exactly, you know what I mean? So like what do we do to sort of like help crossover beyond what Aina is like doing? You know what I mean? Like adding content that cross promotes where we see Scarlet in World v. World, which is apparently like the worst thing ever done, according to some people. Like, how do we, as participants in the game, promote people to come to our side and vice versa?
I think just through like trying to join guilds and doing it that way. Like I know when Potatoes did a lot of stuff within his guild for PvP, where he started doing like PvP workshops and got quite a few people into it that way. There's also been a lot of other like sPvPers getting crossed over into World v. World by joining up. Like I know Hiba was messing around with Riot Team, I think a couple days ago I saw him running that tag. And then you've got people like Bry and them, I think Bry anyway, trying to remember exactly. People like H-Man are running with Apex Prime now too, so that was some interesting stuff that was picked up too. Was that we have some crossover going into World War, but now it's just we got to get them to cross back over. Plus, but I think there's some strong potential for it there, as there already is like quite a few people that like are in World War Girls that have like considered making sPvP teams, but now that especially in Apex, now that they actually are getting like well-known sPvP players to join them, they actually are like making an sPvP team within their core.
Yeah. Dan, what's your take on it before I jump in?
It's difficult. I think there's one. You guys know Redguard. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
If they made a sPvP team, I think you'd see a shed load of World v. World guilds moving. It's trying to appeal to those guys, and saying, I don't want to be the one. Like in my opinion, World v. World the main skill comes a lot from the commander. The commander of your team in World v. World is the one who leads. Okay, it's the same in sPvP, but there's a lot more individual skills because you've got 5 guys. One guy screws up, your team is completely screwed, essentially. You're playing 4v5, and that's just the way it's been. World v. World, it's kind of Zerg on Zerg. You've got smaller scale fights, which are awesome. And then the Guild v. Guild stuff, it's like you got 15 on 15. You can have a couple of slackers in there as long as they're kind of pressing the right buttons here and there. It's okay. And it's all debatable, but it's getting that level of, it's trying to persuade those World v. World players to then move over to sPvP. And I think it's just such a different dynamic. But with all the different things that we saw in the last Friday when they're talking about the different specs that you can play potentially in PvP, that they're going to be changing sigils, rune sets, adding, and also the different on the forums where you can post about different stat combos. I think the fact that sPvP doesn't have a big variation of stat combos is quite significant, and that actually scares a lot of people away. That people that I've been speaking to, they want to play.
There's
like,
even like this group. There's people who like are against sort of like if ANET were to officially implement a GVG mode. There's even people who are like even hesitant to that because they think they'd implement it in an sPvP realm, and then they're worried about the meta getting screwed up by it because of the fact that it would use like the stats available in sPvP, whereas the people in GVG are using some stat combos that aren't available in sPvP, so it would like screw up the meta a little bit. And then some people are even hesitant to that being a thing. So I definitely think that I would agree with you when like the stat diversity would need to increase.
It's just gonna, when that happens, like, I don't know how quick that's gonna happen, and all the sigil changes and all the rune changes and stuff. But that's gonna open up sPvP. I think that's gonna be one thing. Essentially, the cam's just gone off again. Sorry. That's
Skype, please.
This is my hell.
Skype, please.
Pointing that out.
It's just Skype being poo, guys. It's not stream, by the way. But yeah, I think that's one thing that's going to help, and also us, us bridging the gap by us going in there, essentially, maybe in guilds and stuff, and just advertising. And I started to stream a little bit of World v World of my guild and stuff when we go out and about. So I'm also kind of recruiting a bit for my World v World guild. So
I will join your World v World guild. I'm looking to get into it, man. I really want to. I really want to. Like, here's the thing. I want to cross over out of the most greedy reasons because it looks like fun.
Buy game mode. You'll buy. You can buy game mode.
But like, it seems like such an odd concept that we live with this. We have this game that we all love. That technically, there are two other even almost four other communities basically within that play technically the same game that aren't playing the same game. Like it's such a weird concept.
Too widely spread.
Yeah, it just the game modes are not too widely spread, but there's not enough crossover. Like there should obviously we like our sPvP as its own distinct competitive mode because it's something like I don't know. Personally, I'm a big esports guy, as is pretty much everyone watching this live. I don't know about the YouTube crowd just yet, but the big thing is having the intimate connection of narrative with players that we know, and with game modes like World v World or even 20v20 things, it's so hard to know a specific player or specific team because it's so based around their commander and then the 19 people backing them up or the 14 people backing them up, which is like why I specifically love the 5v5 game type, because I can get to know someone like Cade, like a Candace, like Can Scout or Super or Helseth, and those are personalities that like translate into like something you can actually watch and see their performance and track over time. So it's like, for me, I feel like all the amount of crossover in the world will not immediately bring those personalities out just yet, and I want to see more personalities like that. I want to see more players come out and play sPvP and be big characters that we can root for or hate or love to hate or hate to love. And yeah, that's just sort of my take on it. I feel like it's a different kind of player that plays PvP rather than the other ones.
See, I think if we look at it differently in certain regards, that GVG and sPvP are like so close together that it's not even funny. Insofar as, think about it this way: sPvP camps, by the way.
Yep.
sPvP,
I know a way to fix this.
Yeah. We're trying so hard.
Oh, we have a way to fix it now.
I mean, we'll have to use a different service. Yeah,
that's fine. We'll do it next time. Anyways, think about it this way: so you play chess, and you have all those pieces, and over time you have all these different possibilities, and can go either one way, and like you can do a feint, you can, sort of, you have a lot of wiggle room, right? Mm-hmm. Tactically, strategically, and stuff like that from the very beginning when you have all your pieces. When you have puzzles of 5 pieces versus 5 pieces, where it's like, how are you going to fight the other side? It becomes a bigger puzzle because you have fewer pieces. It feels like that's how I equate sPvP.
There's a problem with that analogy, though, Ken, in that when you're playing chess, it's one person operating 16 pieces.
Right.
It's you can make the argument that yes, the commander is moving 20 people, but in the end, it's still up to their execution of his orders. Whereas chess is like a perfect game of like, I want this pawn to do something, so it's going to do something because I'm physically taking my hand and moving that piece.
Right.
What I would say is it's less like a puzzle, whereas like a puzzle has a strict solution. There's a beginning, there's an end. You know how to get to it because you have the image of it. It's more like, five people boxing at the exact same time.
Versus 5 other people that are
versus
also
5
boxing.
other people
This is now
yes.
like WWE.
I'm not
No.
sure if I like that.
And just bear with me on
Comparing
this
things to
analogy.
WWE right now.
But imagine
Yeah.
imagine a system in which like
Rage in the cage.
yeah, like no. But just imagine a system in which like strikes are tallied, points are tallied based on your performance against other people, but it is still a team game. You know, like it's actually most like basketball, really.
Skype. Take it.
But where basketball is not people like 5 people fighting in a cage. So that analogy is kind of dumb and grasping at straws. But it's very similar to basketball, or really any like or even like Call of Duty's team structure, as opposed to just like a singular mind in chess.
I suppose. I don't know. Mine was just simply like possibilities, contingent realities, tactics, how you can apply them.
They're both very good.
General coming in with the neutral, like, you're all right.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's that your opinion is your opinion. So it's the kind of the way you look at it, and you've got your own look at it. So everyone's kind of that's what's good about opinions. But it's weird. There's PvP in World v World, man. There's a team, a World v World guys called Team, and I don't know if you guys remember them in ESL. I think it was
Team.
Yeah, and they're a big, massive World v World guild, and they're called TUP as well. And they're big, massive World v World guild, especially on my server. And there's also Dawn and some guys in Frog and different EU teams. The smaller teams actually do World v World as well. And they do actually play like quite a lot differently, but they've actually gone back to World v World rather than going in sPvP, because if you go to World v World, if the crossover, you need to play a lot of sPvP to be good at sPvP.
Right.
And the skill cap is so high for these guys, and the consistency, the amount of time they play with their friends, you have to have a lot of time to be very, very good at sPvP. Whereas in World v World, I don't think you do. And you can jump in, and as long as there's a big group of you, you can pretty much do what you want against another big group of you, unless you got little to small scale fights. So it's, I think World v World kind of appeals to a lot more people because there's all this space that you can also play in, and there's no restriction. And
it has the possibility to be a lot more casual friendly than sPvP is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's basically
that's a definite.
Yeah,
completely. Yeah. So that's all it is.
World v World can be what you make it. You can make it super hardcore and go into JVG and do these super intense 20v20 raids where you have to be you can't be screwing up, and the one death can mean the world even in a 20v20 scenario. Or you can just be super casual, go find the Karma train and just roam with them and basically just spam skills. You can do either of those. So that's why I think it has a more wide-scale appeal, whereas in sPvP, you do actually kind of have to know what you're doing. You can do hot joins, but the unfortunate fact is like there's just it's just like hot joins is like kind of like lose their fun factor pretty quickly, I think.
Hot joins seem to be like just it's what you want to do if you want to test stuff out, but like there needs to be another step between hot joins and solo queue and team PvP, or maybe even a step between solo queue and team PvP.
Maybe that would be where other game modes would come into play, because we could have other game modes that could play a lot more casually, but just as a fun factor for players to keep playing the game, and then the conquest will be reserved for the more hardcore elements.
Well, I think
non-ranked or something.
When we get more game modes, what we may end up seeing is that this game gets like so the system that they use in Call of Duty, because they have a lot of game modes. They have 3 main game modes rotated over like 3 or 4 maps. So like every map can play the same game mode, can play different game modes on it rather. I think it's a really good system. I like I cannot wait for more game modes to come out other than Conquest. This is coming from the guy who's defended Conquest forever.
Oh man,
like
I love
really good
Conquest
game.
as well. Capture the flag or something like that would be sick.
I want to see CTF for sure. I want to.
So
What's up?
So the only issue with that, and I do agree with you, is that like okay, so one is that I think there would need to be if that comes, there also needs like if that comes and it becomes an accepted thing that we're going to be doing like multi-rotated game modes in tournaments. Like we'll do like map 1 is going to be Forest Conquest, map 2 will be Legacy Capture the Flag, just as an example.
Yeah.
But I think if that was going to happen, then we would also need ways to like we would also need a template for builds, because I think this kind of ties into the Skyhammer thing too. I personally feel that if we had a template to swap builds quicker, Skyhammer would be a lot less frustrating, because a lot of people are never running specs for Skyhammer. And you do sort of need to often either be in a class that's just usually good at it, or swap your build out to something that revolves around CC. It's completely doable, right. But it's the inconvenience and the fact that you don't have the time once the queue pops to go swap your build out to something completely different and then join the game and do that. So if we did it in tournaments, yes, we could do it, but then it would create like all this downtime between maps and all that, because players would have to leave the match, go switch up their builds, or have a second character prepared and all that. And it would just become this weird thing. So I do agree with you, but I think before that happens, before that becomes an accepted thing in tournaments, we would need a template switcher, because otherwise it would just become this really inconvenient thing for teams, and I think a lot of teams personally would be against it, starting off with it, especially without a template switcher.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Did you ever play Rift?
Yeah.
No.
I did.
Rift, basically, I played it, I raided in it a lot, and the PvP was pretty good, and the specs you could come up with, but basically, you could have macros in it as well, but you could have, you would literally press a button and you would switch spec, everything.
Everything, yeah. You could do
healer to DPS.
They started letting you do this in World of Warcraft. I think late Wrath of the Lich King, you could do it starting in late Wrath of the Lich King. They let you start doing it there too. There was always add-ons to do it as well, but I think they actually added it in like late Wrath of the Lich King, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
I played 2 months of WoW.
It was late Warlock, I'm pretty sure.
What look?
What look? Ah man.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. You're right. I think you need to do it.
They have talked about it. It's just that like
it's just
right now
the
they're
backlog
worried
of
about
things.
I wonder where on the cams. I wonder where on the back end.
In unison cams.
I wish they would tell us what the back like. They should just like. So, I hate to bring up PlanetSide so much because it makes me sound like a fanboy of it, and I promise that I'm not. But I mean,
There's nothing wrong with being a fanboy of other games.
I'm really not though, because like I like 2 games, StarCraft and Guild Wars, like basically. But I've worked with them and I've seen their site and I've worked with their product, and they're very transparent about the back end. They have a roadmap of where they want to be, what specific features want to be added by what month, and sometimes what date in what month. And I feel like if that like. Arena has been better about saying what they're planning, what they want to release, but they put a roadmap on and hold themselves to their own goals. Like that would be.
There's a lot of companies doing that now. I've noticed. I don't know the name of the developers, but oh god, what's this game called? Warframe's developers are doing something similar with that now too. Their elite founders or something like that get access to a forum where they literally just say, this is what we're working on now, we're going to have it done by this date, what do you guys think of it? And it's basically like just an exclusive forum, and I think they release a lot of it publicly too, just as like, this is what we're working on, this is when we plan to have it completed by, and they'll like keep people updated on that. I do think that, but it is starting to sort of become a thing in the gaming industry. Like granted, there's only been like 2 to 4 examples of it so far, but I do think it's starting to become a thing, and I just really hope that ANET does adopt that, because that is one of the larger issues right now with the sPvP community. Is like that people know that things are being worked on, but they just don't know like when they're coming and what's coming after that, and stuff like that.
And is it more indie companies that do that? Is it more indie companies?
SOE is huge. So
well, no, SOE is huge.
SOE's, yeah.
Was that okay? Those guys,
I mean, like SOE is like EverQuest and all that other stuff.
I think the problem is this, where those huge companies use not only more people, but more specifically, they use engines that they have either developed or have a lot of experience with. If I am to know how they developed Guild Wars 2, is that this is Blue. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like you know this stuff. You're a dev. This is a new. The guy in the background's like, who's this guy? Anyways, is this a new engine that they're using? Because I could have swore it was.
I mean, it was. If I remember correctly from what I've heard about it, it's a rebuilt version of the Guild Wars 1 engine. So it's like they're using a lot of elements from the Guild Wars 1 engine, but like the graphics compiler and all the other stuff, a lot of it was rebuilt completely new for Guild Wars 2.
Okay.
So it's I would say it's like 50-50, like anywhere between like 40% and 80% is all new, but we don't know specifics obviously because it's all in-house.
The only thing that's left is just the compiler. It's like, yeah, I mean that we didn't change. We don't want to deal with that shit. But no, so like it'd be really like disingenuous to be like, well, ANET should be able to do this. It's like, well, cams.
Yeah.
Be able to say like ANET should be able to do this because like we don't know, like. Imagine,
well, I'm not saying.
Imagine, I understand, but like, imagine like you're given a whole new set of tools to work with,
right?
And you're just like,
but I mean, they've had it for over a year now, right? And so
people in chat, just to provide context, I think people in chat are saying that the Unreal Engine is being used partially too. I mean, in the game, just to add to the last point.
That's a pretty ubiquitous engine, but like, the point is like they should like having had a development cycle of a year where they've released so many massive patches and so many big things and like great things. They should be able to like say like, here's a feature that like even if they like had a section that's just like we don't know when we're gonna release this, but here's something we're working on. That'd be fine as long as they just said it. Like that's like I really feel like the transparency they have is great. We just need a lot more.
Yeah.
Like in terms of dates.
But I think that is also felt by people that play the other game modes, because with the new Ready Up episode that came out, the third one was it, I think, with Grouch, and they were like, well, we're gonna be redoing how we do critical strikes and stuff. Everyone flipped
only
shit.
for PvE though. But like,
yeah, right. I know, but still, people flip shit. And beyond that, people are like, well, when are we going to get this content? Well, when are we going to get this kind of content? Well, this feature needs to be added. We need a way to find out who's inactive in a guild, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, we understand the feeling. And that's why when there's a bit of a hubbub a few months ago with the Guild Wars, or the GVG community about, like, ANET not helping them or something, I was like, guys, listen, like, we know. Like, calm down. Like, this is just how it works, and yeah, it sucks. Like, but at the same time, like, you gotta give them patience, because yelling at them's not gonna do anything.
That's the thing. I mean,
hashtag free the miss.
Yeah, Will said it earlier. There is essentially there's a minimum of free communities, and when you've got a minimum of free communities, that's 3 times the amount of stuff that's potentially going to go wrong. And 3 times the amount of community forum posts that's going to be where people are going to be complaining and whining about how things aren't the way they want it to be.
Yeah.
And then you've got these other things like trading posts, and you've got like the crafting community. You've got other communities that run PvE living world events. You've got like the hardcore role playing communities. There's so many. There's like 50 different communities.
You have the PvP RPers.
I love
yeah, there is some. There really is some. It's madness, and there's like all necro guilds, and it's just like
I know that's the funny part. Like I didn't even think about that.
You just can't win, and it's almost like, unfortunately, by ArenaNet trying to appeal to so many people, like the wider your scope goes, the more there is to go wrong.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunately the way it is, and it's good and it's bad, you know. It's got its upsides, it's got its downsides. But I think Guild Wars 2, because of that, is going to keep drawing people in and out. But you know, it's just there's not much you can do to actually sort out everyone's issues in one go. But it's about getting the right stuff done at the right times. And I think sometimes maybe people think that ArenaNet aren't doing what is important for the game to actually play it properly, and things like being a guild and a guild chat. If you're a guild leader like me and you run, I used to lead a guild with 100 people in. You can't see how long someone's been inactive for. You can't do simple stuff. You can't have an officer chat and stuff. You know, there's little tiny things like that, which I think people are a little bit frustrated about. But I understand.
No trading.
Yeah, and things like that, you know, and it's like things like that haven't been sorted, but the game is so wide that they're trying to fix different bits and pieces. So I kind of feel sorry for him in a way. But
Well, I mean, they're gonna add trading in with that, the pay per month thing, right?
Wait, was that actually part of it?
That was whatever that like big troll like Reddit post was back.
Oh, God,
like,
yeah.
Well, it was
data.
legit. It was just like
I think
it was for
China,
China is what it was. Is
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
being
yeah.
tested for because of
What?
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's being tested for China because of game
And-
bongs and all that stuff.
And
So
I read. All right, this is the funny part. I read some of the Chinese threats. Of course, like Google Translate, so it was like really broken English. Like, I'm not even gonna emulate it because it's insulting. But a few of the people that posted were like, if they do this, I'm not playing this fucking game. And I'm like, oh wow. People are not
It's-
that different across the pond. The other pond.
I mean, there should be no reason that you would even assume that, because I mean,
yeah, but like,
oh god,
it's a cultural. Like sometimes it's a cultural thing. Like,
Yeah.
some people would be fine paying an X amount of money compared to other people for different services, right? Like over here, like if we had to go over in Europe and pay like $5 for a gallon of gas, I'm sure like we would all be pissed over here stateside. But for Europe, that's just how it is, and you sort of adapt to it, right? And so I imagine the same for like China, except cams, except even
China
games.
except cams.
Yeah, China cams, like. But I can't take it seriously anymore.
yeah.
But
I mean-
you know what I mean, right?
If that is actually a thing and like not an April Fool's joke, which would be very disappointing, because that would be the greatest troll in the world, and it's a real thing, then what you have is like a very scary system in which in China there is a Guild Wars 2 that is entirely different than the one we're playing.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Well, that's been a point of discussion for a while too, because there's been a lot of like speculation about how the beta is going over there due
Yeah.
to censorship. But
I
beyond
mean,
that,
Guild Wars
some
2 without
mechanics-
democracy apparently is terrible.
now.
I mean,
Listen, man.
Let's not.
That's the thing when you beta test games. It's like when you beta test games, it's like they're saying, "Oh, is it? You can't do something until you hit level 10, or is it sPvP or something?"
Yeah,
That's
something
someone
like
was
that.
saying.
Yeah.
Or you
but
only
you know,
have 51 traits.
yeah, or something like
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
But maybe they're trying to just test different bits and pieces of the game at the same time. It's like beta testing. I never trust anything based on beta testing. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all these other games that you can test, and it's like when you get to the actual open betas and like you get past those open betas and you get to launch and you're like, I'm playing a completely different game.
Yeah.
The thing is, if we don't bring attention to the problems with the beta, though, there is a large chance that it comes out in the final product, though.
And you need to make sure if you want to complain, you got to make a big noise because
Kong Jong ain't nothing to mess with.
video game devs can be like real like hard asses to get changes into the game, like because it's our game.
Grouch cough? Is that what you're trying to say, Blue?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying because even like pre-launch, because it's like pre-launch is like devs are like, oh, goddamn camps, because it's like it's creating
We're
annoying.
officially
now.
never using Skype again, by the way, viewers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Please
we're
move.
never using Skype again for this.
Because it's like
fuck
the
that up.
devs are like it's like it's our game and we want it to be the way we want it to, but then they'll launch the game and then it'll like not sell as well because they didn't change things, and then they'll be like, oh, maybe we should change it. But it's like, no, you should change it now so you don't have these issues at launch. It's kind of the point I'm gonna get there, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
If I made any sense at all.
Nope, not at all.
All right.
No,
Well,
that's okay. I was sort of half with
but
it.
everybody, we were busy with hashtag cams, so
Hashtag
Hashtag Camus, because I
Yeah.
apparently have a bad habit of doing that. But so beyond the logistics of ArenaNet that we've discussed in full here today,
Yeah, we've
apparently we could be their CFO by our standards, as well as the guy that decides the development path and blah 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 blah. I'm sure everyone could do it. I was being facetious there, just tossing that out there for everybody.
just saying, yo.
Just saying, I can make Guild Wars 2 is all I'm saying. But beyond
The
that,
rumor, when you hear the rumor, I made it in the 4th grade, like on pencil and paper, and then
Oh yeah.
put it in
you
code.
are the dev. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm not just a dev. I'm the dev. This is apparently the rumor that's going around.
It was actually Zamoros.
No,
You were the
Actually,
art
inside
director for the
Zamoros, it's just
Asuras.
blue.
here's
It's
the
like-
backstory for Blue. Okay.
I don't know why I ever told
Blue-
Paul that. Like,
Here's the backstory for Blue. Blue sold so many drugs on the Silk Road that he made Guild Wars 2. But because it would be really strange to have this kid be a developer of such a great game, he actually paid people to lie and say that they were actually devs and community managers and stuff like that. So really, it's like a self-imposed Truman Show, and we should probably
Oh my
never
God.
talk to Blue ever again because he's just damn weird.
Wait, so are we in the Truman Show?
Yes.
And blue is the dome?
Yes. Blue is the dome.
what?
Cams.
Hashtag cams.
That happened in like the best time too. Like, oh god.
It's a glitch in the Matrix, the blue tricks.
Yeah, the blue tricks.
Wow.
But as I was saying before, we keep getting like lost off of track all the damn time. Well, how? Oh, I hate
Is your train of thought there?
I'm a terrible host. Today on sPvP Update, we're going to talk about nothing.
We're just gonna stare in the cams and look at
Well,
each other.
alright, so, like-
Turn the cams off.
beyond what we've discussed already, like what is there? Because like yeah, we've touched a little bit on community, but there's got to be more to it. You know what I mean? Like, is it just an interest based? Damn it, Will. Is it based on interests?
We do.
Or
I didn't see.
is it just based on the type of people that those modes sort of like garner, right? Are PvP people that play a bunch min-maxers? Are they wanting to break the game all the time, like Ulrun? Stuff like that.
Oren doesn't want to break it. He just wants
Bullshit,
to make
he
people really
don't.
mad.
Bullshit, he doesn't. I've seen him.
He doesn't want to break it. He just wants to troll the crap out of everybody.
Every other day, it's like, hey guys, guess what I did today? And it's
Just-
like, why?
I mean,
Why
like
have you done
when
this?
you're running a name like Legend VVV Ranko, I don't think you're very like
And
Yeah.
you're on neither of those teams.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point.
and you're on neither of those teams.
But beyond that, okay, I can't. This is like
I think we just broke this show.
you broke the show and you've broken me. All right, like,
As a
I'm just
person.
tossing that out
You.
there.
just broke the show.
Yeah, everything's broken.
The show is
Hey.
very much alive. The thing is when you start talking about something that's almost impossible to try and numb down, and you kind of go
Yeah.
into in a place where you're like, I don't even know where to start because there's way too much to
We do
even
actually-
get
But
involved.
it's really
Which
weird
is
for a
some-
game that's so centric around community. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Cameras. So now that we've broken this conversation for the cameras, it's worth actually let's
So
talk
there's
to the
some-
viewers.
There's actually some. Yeah, I was about to say.
Because Subcutie brought up a really good point.
God damn, I was gonna say it, but okay.
Well,
go
man,
ahead. I
I'm
kept
more in
trying to
touch
say it
with
like
the
8
fewer
times.
Did I miss
Will's
it?
like-
No, I didn't.
Throw
I'm
down.
gonna say it.
Caster fight, let's go.
I'll fight you IRL.
Ding, 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 ding.
No, but I mean,
Who's old enough to know that music?
I am
everyone
a
except
little
blue.
bit.
Anyway, so Hans has been in the chat this entire time, saying some really insightful stuff. I really wish that we could give Blue's reaction to me telling him to fight me, but he's saying that what PvPers really want is counterplay. They want to be able to outplay their opponents and not have their fate depend on RNG and luck. And it took us about 5 minutes to actually talk about that. But like so there has been a reduction of RNG in this game in sPvP a lot, but it's still there, and there like there's a lot. We've come I would say, in my opinion, we've come a long way since like elixirs do either this or that, and it's RNG whether or not it happens. Like whatever, like a lot of the RNG did come from NGs. Now that I think about it. But a lot of it has been removed. But there's a lot more that needs to be taken out of sPvP specifically.
I gotta mute.
What?
What he said, the Mario Party thing killed me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's important to keep a good luck to skill ratio. Casuals need that. Mario Party, etc. Yes.
I don't know why Mario Party.
Luck to skill ratio is actually a very, very important, crucial term in game design and in any go watch any episode of tabletop by Will Wheaton on Geek and Sundry. Like every game that they choose has a high luck to skill ratio, or it tends to be more luck than skill, but enough to that you can make strategies and perform them, right? So it's really crucial in good design to have that, and just so that it caters to both the top players and dirty casuals like me.
Someone said something about the warriors, like stacking classes. Something that I want to see, and people who are running tournaments, cough cough, is that you can't have class stacking, either class stacking or some kind of thing where you can't stack builds for something like that. Because I think, even though we talk about how hammer longbow warriors can be countered and everything, I think we know the signet's going to be, the health that it's generating is going to be reduced by 8% or whatever it was. I think it's important that someone, if it will, that's not official. I think it's really important that we try, as we seem to be centric in kind of forming the way tournaments are formed. Having something like no class stacking or no build stacking in that kind of sense is something we need to maybe be
I mean, so
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Okay, so like for us, yes, it would be cool to do that, because yes, it was applied in some of the tournaments like the GVG one. But the thing is that ANET would never adopt a policy like that in one of their own tournaments.
No.
So
I don't think
I mean, it would just be this really crappy thing, because like I'm not saying it wouldn't be bad. I'm not saying it would be bad. It would it would definitely be a good thing for some scenarios. But the issue would be like we'd have this adopted format that, okay, you can't class stack, but then all of a sudden there's a big ANET tournament that happens, and at the moment at least ANET tournaments are going to be the biggest every year, assuming we do have them every year, that is, where ANET will never adopt the policy like that. Like I can tell you right now, they never would.
Yeah.
So we get this like this communally accepted thing that there shouldn't be class stack, and then all of a sudden ANET just comes in and crashes that again. So like
if you've been playing a certain way, just as like opening the conversation up for that, because I think it's quite a good subject that a lot of people want people to talk about. But if you think about it in that kind of way, that people have got to a point where they're really, really good in their team comps, and they've been playing for 11, 12 months of the year in this team comp. If they suddenly class stack, they're going to be changing their team setup to a considerable way where they haven't been really playing. And basically,
my worry with it is that, okay, we have all this like super intense competition throughout the year because we banned class stacking, and then we have an ArenaNet tournament where class stacking is allowed, and then all of a sudden somebody cheeses and wins the tournament because of that. That would be like my ultimate worry with it.
Yeah,
I think that maybe the best course of action. Hey,
go ahead. Sorry.
Talking here.
Well, I just want to say also the other thing to consider too
sounded like a cat.
And he kept going.
Will,
real quick.
Right,
the one thing to consider too is the fact that like solo queue and team queue are never gonna like be perfect, and where they never disallow them to have multiple classes in one game. So
yeah.
I think we just got more views in the channel because we were talking about that.
It's actually hilarious.
I've been watching it, and then like right when we had the cams, no, dude, we lost viewers because of that.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that what would be a healthy way of figuring out what to do with it is we should kind of mix these tournaments where we don't allow class stacking into sort of the fold of the our other major tournaments. Like I know MPI, we probably won't throw that rule in, like, because we're like a week away, less than.
Yeah, you've already started.
But like going forward, I mean, there will be more MPIs. Like we probably also will not do that, but maybe we do a different tournament, like a theme tournament. It's like, hey, this tournament is specifically not allowing class stacking. Let's see what happens. You know, it's worth trying. But like, unless there's more than just like a few of them, when there's not enough like data to create like a metagame for it to create the new builds that are specifically for like this sort of game type. Yep.
This is now like a game we play. First person to yell cams gets a cookie.
You're like
gets gems. First person to yell gem or hashtag.
First person to yell gems gets cams.
Wait, let's give away some gems tonight, guys. Let's actually do that.
You guys can do it. It's up to you.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
While you do that, can I weigh in on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem I have with banning class stacking is similar to what Blue said, right?
Well, you two are gonna agree.
Yeah.
Do you two guys agree?
It sort of sucks.
That
Well,
sucks.
now it really sucks that I'm agreeing with Blue, but for different reasons. For different reasons, okay. I want for a game to be balanced better, you have to understand like every possible outcome and how it can compares to other outcomes. And when you allow class stacking, or when you eliminate class stacking, you're getting rid of out of 5, right? Like assume that you only allow up to 2 of the same type, then you're just going to like get rid of some of these outcomes that you can have between these 2 different compositions fighting each other. And then when you switch at the last second, you're adding all these other like possibilities that like can come out of nowhere and screw everything up. And it covers up it covers up the symptom, not the problem. You know what I mean? The symptom is that the game is not nearly as balanced as it should be, and that some of these builds come out of the woodwork and just kill everything, right? The new warrior build or whatever, semi-new warrior build, right? So, is it better to cover up the symptom, or is it better to just fix the problem, is what it comes down to. And I think that when you do that, when you start banning class stacking, you're going to have those problems. So.
All right, before we move on, if you want to win some gems, tweet a question for us to talk about at Mistpedia.
Yeah.
That's gonna be it.
Not at MLG Sire?
No, at Mistpedia.
I'm impressed.
Cams, I won! I got the gems, guys! Cam gems. Alright. But yeah, like, I understand the no class stacking, but I don't think that is the solution. I think it's I think it's fine for tournaments and stuff, like every now and then.
So the optimal solution would just be better balance, but I mean, like,
well, yeah, but
that's obviously like you know,
it's super hard. I'm not gonna go.
That's where we get into controversial territory that we're not really gonna talk about here.
Yeah, no balance.
I can't bother to talk about class.
Even though we were just talking about it,
we're talking about theoretical balance. We're not talking about balance in the game as we know it right now. Otherwise, it would be way longer, and I'm sure people would hate us, and there'd be yelling.
I mean, if you look at the reasons, like, let's just pick up, we'll leave class balance out of it, but if you pick the main reasons that a lot of teams have quit the game, like, I think we might all put in our top 3 the fact that that when there is an OP class, like, people will class stack to win matches, and so they will be less down to the skill of the team or the players in the opposite team that's facing that class stack with the face roll classes. That is a lot of the reason why a lot of teams actually quit. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of almost like if you do a tournament like that, even if you did like one every like 6 months, you kind of entice those guys to think, you know what, there's some guys out there that are actually thinking, maybe we shouldn't. We should try something a little bit different. And also, you know, like the oh my god, I've completely forgotten who ran it. The tournament with a different game mode. VVV.
Wait, you mean Light Tech with a 66?
Yeah. I mean, whether or not we agree with whether or not it was actually a good game mode to come up with, and whether or not it was useful for the way we spectate and commentate, and whether or not people enjoyed it, there was a lot of people that did enjoy it, and a lot of new people came in, and a lot of people actually came back. I spoke to some guys I haven't spoken to for about 6 months who came back and watched it, and they were like, whoa, people are doing something different in Guild Wars 2 sPvP. And it's like, crap, sometimes we've got to do that. We've got to think outside the box and think, you know what, this is actually what people want to do, so why don't we try and do it?
I agree.
Well, like, I don't know, that's why I'm such a fan of All Run, in a way, because, like, instead of sitting there and drafting forum posts all the time, like, and I if I was, like, nearly as involved as everybody else in that kind of stuff for Guild Wars 2, I'm sure I'd have just as lengthy of a post, but it doesn't do anything. You know, like, you can bring up some of these problems and, like, well, maybe you guys should focus more on this instead of that for balancing, etc., which we're not going to go into. But instead, like, try to break the game more.
I'm trying so hard not to go into it.
Yeah, and break the game even more, where you're like, okay, well, I found this. Can I utilize this? Oh, wow, this actually is, like, the optimal build for this profession, making it the most optimal build for every profession, and then you just go crazy with it. and just like keep doing that and talking about slight oversights, nothing over the top. It's also tired. I'm also really tired, so like I'm just prattling.
You're all good. It's 1:20 a.m. for me. I'm fine.
I got some questions.
Django makes a good point, but go ahead, Will.
Django.
Let's talk about that before we go on to the questions, because questions require giveaways.
Oh, in chat. Sorry, I thought you were calling someone else Django. What's your pet name for Django? Who's Django?
He's unchained, man.
Yeah, he is unchained. I've still not seen it.
Django!
Are we going to talk about it real quick or not?
Yeah, let's talk about Django's question, or
Okay.
Django's comment.
Well, he says, wow, something different. Move to try it. Move to try, or move to, oh my god, it's worse than before. Move to leave again. Cams.
I won
You
that
beat me.
time.
But I think that's a really good point where it's like, it's a lot easier to leave in a huff than to like say, okay, well, I failed making this build that's better or anything like that, and then keep moving on, you know? Like, there's got to be something about the game that makes people want to leave. And I don't think it's the build. I don't think it's balance or anything like that. I think it's just like expectations.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider too is the fact that, okay, we say, oh my god, it's worse. What do you define as worst? Is worse just different, or is worse actually worse?
That's
Because there have been people who come back and came into what I would consider pretty decent metas, or like there have been pretty decent changes to the class, and then they just left because, oh no, this is so much worse, when the majority would agree that it was better. So, I mean, there's also people that come back for that reason. So, I mean, it's a good comment, don't get me wrong. There are valid points to it, but just to provide counterpoint to, there are also people who come back, say something's worse, when in reality, the majority does think it's better. You're just, people don't like change, basically, and that's where that
I fear
philosophy comes
change.
in.
The classic phrase, I fear change, we fear change, because people don't like stuff that's different to what they used to. People love a routine, man.
And when I'm talking about it now, it's like, just to be clear, I'm not talking about like right now when people are coming back. I'm talking about like in the past when people have come back. Like, I'm not saying right now when people are coming back, this is a better meta now. But yeah.
Okay. Well, let's. Okay.
Let's screwed everything up.
What happened?
Blue's me now. Blue's me now.
Am I? Oh,
Not
cool.
Anymore, he ain't. Not anymore, he ain't.
Hey guys, welcome to. I'm Kenigmatic.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Anyway.
That delay allows it for like 2 seconds. Anyway.
So I'm going to give Gems the sub cutie today because he not only had a great ass point, but he gave a great ass question.
I'm like over you, like
he
over your square.
says at Mistpedia, do you guys think the Mesmer / Thief and NG / Necro matchup should be prioritized to look at?
But just generally,
you say that one more time.
So do you guys? The cameras.
Got it.
But do you guys think that the Mesmer Thief and NG Necro matchup should be prioritized to look at?
I don't think you should prioritize anything, really.
Like what about that matchup? Like,
I don't know. Like, I mean,
that's kind of a
as
big
casters, like, do we observe it? Do we observe it more and prioritize it? But also, from a ballot standpoint, like, should it be changed up?
Those two going against each other, like it's I don't know, it's like a very vague question.
I think what
I kind of understood it. Go ahead, man.
Is it maybe like when we're looking at fights, like try and pick out those fights, or maybe try and balance the kind of fights? I mean, just as I think maybe a couple of us are thinking what the question is about. Maybe if like Blue and me, but maybe and we're not been with Will as well. We've looked at fights and we'd be like, right, there's two Guardians fighting. We'll come back to this in half an hour. There's a Ranger versus Guardian, Ranger versus Warrior. This could go anyway. We'll focus on the DPS fights of the game, and the big team fights, rather than just the tank on tank or whatever. So where we can kind of commentate and shoutcast to a degree, but there's actually not much point because it's not going to go anywhere fast. And probably the only thing that's going to change is when someone comes in to assist. But in terms of what else we might think the question might be, and the matchup between, what was it, Mesmer and Thief?
Mesmer, Thief, and NG Necro.
NG Necro, in my opinion, is balanced if they're good players. But
This is NG Necro you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's balanced if they're good players, but if they're not, you're screwed if you're an NG.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same almost with Mesmer and Thief, but I think it's probably a bit...
So there has been some attempt by Mesmer to try and creatively get around the Thief issue by going. I think Helseth, at least, I think he was trying to go around it with this. I think Helseth is trying to run with Offhand Torch now. where he does get an additional stealth bonus there from that, and that does allow him to get a little bit of get off of that just a little bit. You can just get a little bit of an opportunity to re-engage and then come directly out again, and then just re-engage with a crap ton of burst onto people. And he is trying that out, so I'm not sure if that's actually worked yet, but I do agree that those matchups, like in the past too, it was part of what made Mesmer kind of unplayable, was the fact that like Thief, SD specifically, just like murdered Mesmer, and there was nothing you could do about it.
I think that's why they went for the rune set with Alyssa, and then going for the invis as well.
I mean, like SD's not as much of an issue as it was before, but I think granted, I'm not a like, I don't keep up on like huge amounts of the in-depth Thief and nor Mesmer meta, but I don't think it's too much of an issue as it was now, but I think it is still somewhat of an issue.
Yeah.
Guys, we're not going to talk about balance.
Yeah, I know. I like how.
I know. We're not going to talk about balance.
I'm looking at the chat.
What I will mention.
I'm looking at the chat.
What I will mention about what SubCutie said was that it's disproportionate and stuff. And the reason for that he mentioned was like Condy removal. That is one thing I really want them to address, because for something to be fair, it means that everybody has like the same abilities to use that. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you can argue, well, if I'm forced to use this build, then I can't use that or anything like that. You could argue that. But that's a problem of wills and what you want to do compared to what you should probably do. I know.
The funds.
Yeah, but the problem is that it doesn't even get to that point. It feels like some classes are like, oh yeah, we can just keep doing Condy removal and like that's not an issue. But why can't other classes? You know what I mean? Like, they sort of address that, and I think sPvP, I'm not sure if they did another update. I forget if they addressed that at all in one of the previous write-ups. But anyway.
I might say something quickly that I think generally that's something the Guild Wars 2's tried to do but hasn't managed to do, unfortunately, from the offset, is when they said with dungeons and they said about the whole Trinity thing. Yeah, they got rid of it in dungeons. But did they get rid of it in PvP? I'm not 100% convinced that
my opinion,
I don't know. What do you reckon?
I think that it added some utility to it. So but the Trinity isn't there in the standard DPS tank damage dealer role. It's just the names have changed. Maybe there's a lot more variety of things. Like, I don't think it's there, but you can see vestige parts of it.
There's no main healer basically anymore. Is the one change that we had. We still have a tank. It just comes in the form of a bunker who also splits part of the healer role, and then you have the DPS is still there too. Yeah. But there's 3 to 4 different forms of DPS though. That's the thing that comes into play with it.
If you're going to go for an AoE healer though, and you've only got 5 players in your team, what class would you go? You're not going to go for an Ellie. You're going to go for your bunker. You're going to go for your guardian.
Yeah,
he's going to be doing your healing. That's the thing. It's like I really think that out of anywhere in the game where there's this kind of structure to your team. It's like, if you don't have a bunker guardian, you're not going to win. It's just not. It's not going to happen.
I mean, if you're going to play sPvP without a bunker guardian, you're going to have a bad time.
I mean, in the current,
can't do it.
In the current meta, that's true. In the past, we have had teams get pretty farly placed in tournaments without having a bunker guard or a bunker in general. We've had full DPS teams place 2nd or 3rd in tournaments before. One notable example, I believe, was Curse Champion of the Miz NA. I think there was a team that placed 2nd without a bunker guardian. I think.
Would be good
if I remember correctly.
Miss Pedia had that information, because I don't know.
Well, it wasn't. Is it still there? I mean, you're just gonna look at the team comp. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was NA. If it was one of those, it was one of those tournaments in like May or June. I don't know. That one of the teams. Check. I think I want to say it was like.
Team doesn't matter.
It might have been team doesn't matter.
Wait, TDM was then go on to be what? USA?
I don't know. I want to say they had Heba on the team, but I don't know for sure.
But someone won where there wasn't a guardian bunker.
I do remember somebody placing 2nd or 3rd without a bunker guard on the team, and they were doing pretty well too. So.
Well, I'd love to see it, because I've always thought this as well, and I thought in one. It's like, I want to play a Mesmer and I want to be a support and I want to be a healer / bunker. can I do it? No, because you're not going to be as good as a Guardian. So
Yeah,
screw you.
like you don't
Like,
need to do it, but right now it's just their healing is so good to have in a team fight,
Yeah.
and that's why you see half the time like Tage doesn't even usually sit on mid for most of the game now. Some bunker run-ins are are like getting this now too with that.
I know.
You don't AFK on mid the whole game. You go wherever the team fight is, so that huge amount of support you're putting out, especially in Tage's build, is going to be heard throughout your entire team, and it's actually going to be keeping them alive a lot in team fights. That's why a lot of teams are starting to do that now, because they're using it more for the support reasons than necessarily they may be using it for the bunker reasons.
Yeah, agreed. That's good. I'm really happy about that because it makes team fights more spread around the map more as well, rather than there's mid team fight again. They actually move to the outer points, and the warriors are moving potentially to the mid, or maybe like a ranger, or even the engineers. You know, like. So like, and you can get a bit more variation like that. But I'm hoping that with the sigils that are coming in and with the new rune sets, I think there'll be more variation to bunkers. I'm hoping. I'm not saying in any of this, by the way, by saying that anyone's crap for the way they've done things. But I think, I don't mind the fact that you can only play one class as being a bunker. I don't actually mind too much. But in a game where you're supposed to be able to play any class can do anything, and that's the kind of remit of what you're doing, I think you kind of have to back it up in all game modes. And I think this is another one of those things where they've tried to go so wide out that you can't. It takes a while to actually get the grips of it. I think maybe when the game launched, and when you cut, everyone's like, "Oh God, how do we play this game? What's going on?" Well, the most various builds that you saw ever in the game, cams again, was so awesome. But
I remember what was that?
No, you go.
Oh, I just remember like early on in the game, like warrior, like demonstrative. One of the players like used to play warrior, and oh my god, oh man, and just some of the cool stuff that warriors were able to do back then, and then something happened and they just weren't able to do it anymore, and then like for them to come back and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm just nostalgic. Don't mind me. But
no, it's nice to have moments like that in the game, man. It's good that you can. I think that's a good thing. It's like, oh, memories of my life. Oh, memories of my gaming life. It's like, I remember when this guy did this, that, the other.
I remember when I logged in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But, I mean, it's good.
Yeah. Let's move from this balance. Because
now,
we're not going to talk about balance. Next question.
Next question.
I had my little
Django in chat actually has a long thing that I want to read before. Okay. Question / discussion. I think what makes maps like Fire Temple and Kylo interesting is not the secondary objective, but the shift in Z-axis and the distance between how and large the points are. I think to make cool maps, they should focus on more different point sizes and distances. Positioning and movement makes capture point interesting.
I agree.
That's actually spot the fuck on.
I agree.
So, in the case of Kylo, the reason why I like Kylo is because CT point is elevated to the second story, way above the others. You can see, obviously, you can see the other points. Elevation is a huge deal on pretty much every map. The only problem is that on maps like Spirit Watch, where like points are sort of like the points are above the middle area, it makes things really, really hard to actually get to the point. And like when you're like the secondary mechanic of Spirit Watch is like the orb in the center for you guys who play the normal maps like normal people. But like the fact that you have to go like from the bottom of this area to the top of this area makes it really hard makes it really hard to happen. Unfortunately, that map is really it's imbalanced due to the spawning locations. But yeah, I totally agree. The pathing from point to point, we see on Kylo, the points are like lined up horizontal as opposed to the triangular shape of forest as opposed to temple shape as well. And I think temple should be played a lot more. I love it.
Yeah, temple. And they did the best thing when they took the fact that the water feature, when they took that out, turned that map into a tournament map. Basically, that was the good thing that Arena Net did. That was probably the best things they did in one of the maps was to change it, and the fact that they let a lot of people said that, and then they changed it. I think a lot of PvP people were very, very happy about that.
Yep.
It was good. There's so much. I think Forest is just an awesome map in the way it is. Like, and just I love the fact that, again, because it's got that kind of elevated level, and it's in the mid, and you can come around the back. There's like there's 4 different ways, and if you're a Mesmer or a Thief, there's more. You know, and you can just get into that midpoint in so many different ways, and you can range from different points, and there's a lot of variation. That's why the sPvP is so good in it being an MMO as well, especially because other MMOs don't really have that. And I've played a lot of arena and other stuff in other MMOs, and okay, Rift had a bit of quite a cool PvP system, but the balancing was balancing. Don't go back to the balancing, but you know, it is epic. The actual thing, it's like a Skyhammer. I'd like to see a Skyhammer version where you don't have the Skyhammer, because I'd actually really like to just play it without.
Well, I don't think like the Skyhammer.
Cool.
There's like more issues besides the Skyhammer in that map.
Yeah.
Like the
I think that's
part
the main one.
that is part of the pretty big reason for it. But the knockout mechanic, people don't like that in general too. But I think I would actually, because part of the reason people don't like the knockout mechanic is mainly because of the fights that happen up with the Skyhammer. So I think a lot of that would be actually alleviated with the elimination of the Skyhammer itself. But then you still have those fights over at Side Node too that would still be where players like, oh, we're getting knocked out and we can't control it, like, you know, and they don't want to have to respec for it and everything. So that
would be where your respec button comes in handy.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. That's actually quite good. I mean, it's all about that.
I enjoy playing Skyhammer when we had Skyhammer Fest or Hammerfest or whatever.
Oh, dude!
And I was just running. You remember that?
Yeah, I loved the hell out of that.
I was running around as a guardian with with greatsword, hammer, and sanctuary.
Oh God!
and
you were the most annoying person in the world.
I would greatsword 5, trigger like on the side node. I'd only play side nodes or go and try and play the hammer. I'd grab somebody with greatsword 5, walk over the freaking like glass panel, trigger it, and then like immediately pull someone off or just try and juke them. Half the time it works. The jukes in the initial area of initial like starting time of Skyhammer rather.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Nowadays though,
all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna go lightning round because Blue has to go soon for his GG brother.
I think we only need one.
No, for the 2v2 tournament in like 20 minutes.
Sorry.
I need to leave in like 4 minutes because I gotta like make sure everybody checks in and all that.
We can get through it, okay?
All right.
We have one question left.
Hey,
all
right. Go.
So that's what I've been typing
Sarf.
for the past like 6 minutes now.
So, so Django, go ahead and message me on Twitch to receive gems so I can send them to you. The next question is from Returning 10. When do you guys think they will bring back in-game daily, weekly, monthly tournaments?
Soon TDM.
Say it again.
Soon
when do you think that ArenaNet will bring back in-game daily, weekly, monthly tournaments? Camera's side.
And I think it'll be sooner rather than later, but it won't happen until after the reward system is changed, I think.
They're working on the stuff they're working on now, and I think they're really hard focused on that. So it would come possibly after that, but we don't know for sure, unfortunately. I do think it's a pretty strong possibility, though.
I mean, I would question, like, they're awesome. I love the idea of them, and it's been around since Guild Wars 1, but with Leagues and Ladders coming out, I would question the urgency in which ArenaNet sees that issue. If they do come out, I would imagine them coming up after Leagues and Ladders.
There's so many external tournaments as well. Like tournaments are kind of, there's so many different tournaments going on. I think we're kind of meeting the need for a lot of people actually wanting serious tournaments, because I don't think people I'm sorry to say, people don't treat PvP as serious tournament play. They don't. Yeah. They just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so.
Unless
if it was leading up to something, they would obviously treat it seriously. If it was going to lead into something else, like say they did some sort of series where there would be like 8 monthly tournaments, and then those 8 teams would go to a grand final at a yearly, and there would be like a 9-month season through that. Then they'd take it seriously when those monthlies came around, obviously. But I mean, that's the thing though, is that like monthlies wouldn't even be considered on the same tier as TPVP, because that's like a whole separate thing.
Right. Yeah. Right, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so we have
all right.
two. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This time we're doing lightning round. Okay. All right. So Storm asked 2 questions. I'm going to burst through them really fast. All right. What's going to happen after the Miss PD Invitational? We'll answer that at at the end of the show, which is coming up soon, because then we're going to talk about stuff we plan on doing and what's actually going to happen. The other one he says is the Forest to Foe Fire to Kylo rotation. Is there any idea or any plans to switch that up at all?
To include Temple.
And include Temple. Yeah.
Yep. To answer that, VVV's Kings of the Mist tournament for the best of 5 will include Temple as the 4th map in the rotation. I would really love to start weaning that in. I actually like that map better than Foe Fire, like a lot better than Foe Fire. Foe Fire gets really, really, really snowbally. We do see some really great use of Lord play on occasion, especially at the EU side. But you could argue that Temple's buffs are... We haven't seen them used correctly yet. We've seen them obviously go for Trank and say like the 2 mid buffs, but use and control of the side buffs I feel like needs to be explored more. And I think the best way to do that is to just throw it into tournaments. So I want to see it happen soon.
I agree completely on what you just said. That's true. This ferocity is like a massive buff, and every single time I play it, I get both because they stack. And if you're killing the enemy team, you can hold 1 point. And you can get more points than them if you're killing them. Essentially, you could just bunker up on 1 point and just run around the map as a Zerg and just, kind of hold one point. There's so many different tactics because it's such a massive cams.
It's massive
map.
Cams. Massive cams.
I think you're right. That's what's good. I mean, I can't wait for it's. Good that people are going to try and put it into tournaments. When I did Unity Invites, which is what I started off casting back in September, I did a map rotation of I think I did Forest, Temple, and Kylo. There's different maps, and people were like, "Whoa, what's going on? We never play in competitive play in these maps. I don't know what to do." And it really screws people up, and people are so focused on practicing those main 3 map rotations. Not even Kylo that much actually. So mainly the 2, because we normally see 2-0 matches. Then you're opening it up. So I think that's a good idea. Sweet, I like it. I like that
Did Blue leave us?
No, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, I'm doing a lot of pre-tournament stuff now. Sorry.
Yeah. It's all right. We're keeping you too long. So why don't you sign off, dude? We'll finish up the show, and
I'll figure out what to do from there. We'll get it.
But is this stream here or is it on your channel?
It's over on my channel.
Okay. Guys, after this, go watch twitch.tv/blue42 for some 2v2 action, Miss PD 2v2s. Subscribe to that. Pay this kid $5 a month so you can use his emotes.
Wow, pay this kid $5 a month.
Wow,
That's that sounds
you
really
put it the worst way. Let Blue rob you. Let Blue rob you so you can
give me your
like,
money.
I will never viewers. I will never lie to you. Give Blue $5 a month so you can get Mist Prez and Mist King.
I will be honest. I don't use
emotes, soon.
But I use those emotes just because they're just so damn funny to use. But beyond that, go check out Blue. Him doing stuff, I guess. He does a lot of things. I'm also super tired, so don't pay attention to me.
Blue 42.
Oh my god, why is everyone saying they're super tired when it's 2 a.m. for me?
All right, wait.
Because clearly they're not made of sports.
Give me an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I'll be up until 5 a.m.
Yep.
Don't get
all right.
shit.
So, anything else for you?
From me? No.
From you, no, right?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let's get the hell out of my chat.
Go watch that kid in a little bit when we finish wrapping up the show, guys.
Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Yeah.
See you, mate.
All right.
Rest in peace, Blue.
Rip in peace, Blue. All right, good. So I don't have to move anything. That's the best part about this, apparently. So everything is a-okay. We're still on for good. So let's finish it up a little bit, right? What tournaments are we expecting to see coming up?
So this Saturday we have VV Kings of the Mist 2, which is me and Blue, and that's gonna start. Storm linked it in chat. Storm, if you could link it again, you can go do that. There's 2 team slots left, so go sign up right now. Just go do it. You get a chance to win some stuff, some gems and some gold. And then immediately following that, we have the NA open bracket for Miss Pedia Invitational. So if you haven't checked that out, you can go to misspedia.net, go to search Miss P Invitational. So go do that. So you can see all the teams that have been invited. On the EU side, we're still inviting teams. On the NA side, you can sign up to fight for your right to party and play in. Also, the Kansas sign up, but like you can play in the open bracket this Saturday as well. And so Blue and I will be casting like nonstop that day, pretty much. The VV tournament stream is on twitch.tv /live_VVV gaming. Of course, the MPI will be right here on twitch.tv/Misspedia, I think.
I think you should be in charge of that.
Yeah, I should be totally on top of that. Don't worry, guys. We'll tweet. So look at the Twitters and Reddits, and in game it'll be shouted from the mountaintops. If it's not here, it'll be on Blue's channel, so you're probably aware of wherever it's going to be. And beyond that, if Storm's other question is what's going to happen after the Misspedia Invitational, we're going to be doing more of these sort of like month-long tournaments. There's going to be open brackets as well, so more people can get in, but there will be seedings. Lots of more information is coming up on that soon, so just prepare your mind holes for some more monthly tournaments, all done on like the weekend and stuff. It's going to be a big platform for anyone who's interested in starting to learn how to get competitive in Guild Wars 2, or anyone who already is, to have some fun on the weekends and enjoy the game they love a lot. So we're hoping to provide that for you guys in a really interesting way, and we're hoping to stream that pretty much every weekend.
What about you, Jibro? Are you up to anything?
ESL on Thursday with Blue. Unless Saraf's going to have the day off. I miss casting with you, man.
Yeah, man. We'll get you in on the MPI for sure.
We can, definitely. I love casting with Blue as well. This is good. I get to cast with everyone now. That's cool. Basically, I'm doing ESL like on and off weekly, doing random streams like World v World on twitch.tv/JebroUni. I'm working a lot on my YouTube channel, trying to make just builds for new players like the meta kind of Hambo and the Ranger and all that kind of stuff, which is really good for players to get, especially new players, because they can feel like they're kind of OP when they walk into sPvP, and I think it's good because they make themselves feel good when they walk into PvP rather than actually getting completely owned. But yeah, there's that. There's my YouTube channel at youtube.com/UnityJebro. Also, just helping out people here and there, streaming. Bits and bobs, man. On here. Bits and bobs. Nothing too hectic, but
so that B&B, man.
I'm good. And helping to develop other tournaments like Guild Wars, GW2net .match/ I'm really tired.
Yeah. now you're tired. You're giving me shit the entire time, and then you're like,
I'm standing in World v World, and I'm literally standing with my Asura with his staff, and I've got consecrations, and I'm running around with about 7 guys chasing me, and they haven't killed me yet. This is how easy.
Wait, you've been doing that this entire time?
Yeah.
Trying to like, maybe that's why we have so many viewers.
I'm a man,
like,
and I can do 2 things at the same time.
That's why we have so many viewers. People are like, I wonder if we could stream snipe Jebro if we watch this stream. Maybe
that's probably what's happening.
That's probably what's happening.
It's probably because most of the people are watching on my server.
So Ken, what are you doing this week, Ken?
Don't ask me those questions. Misspedia stuff and more Misspedia stuff and more Misspedia stuff. Here's a little bit of news. If you followed the Misspedia update video that was originally on the Misspedia front page, but then I broke everything, so it's not anymore. I think I figured out how to get Misspedia gear in Europe. So if you ever want a Blue Please mug, that might be doable.
# Blue Please.
Yeah, that is a thing. Or if you want one of this, like it's super loose. I wish I got a smaller one. Maybe the size is different in Europe. Maybe they're less fat. Who knows? But yeah, so like there's gonna be stuff. Hopefully other things. So that way, if you hate Misspedia, like, you'll still want to get something else. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hopefully,
the shop is going to be baller.
I didn't even know you had a Misspedia t-shirt on.
I've been like stretching and stuff. Like,
oh god, check out
dude.
this shirt.
What was that thing from South Park?
Faith Hilling.
Yeah, Faith Hilling. Like I'm sitting there like, Jabro. Like, no.
You need to send me one, then I'll wear it.
I'll
Like
figure
a
it out.
face
I'll
t-shirt.
figure it
We'll
out.
make it happen.
We'll figure
Do
it
it.
out. I'll drive out there. It's not that far.
Just to drive across the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
No.
Oh, no. It'll be icy. You got snow over there, right?
Oh, dude, it's like -30 wind chill out here. It's great. I love it. Like, dude, come on. I love this shit. This is so thick of a beer, it's not even funny. But if you guys are set, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So
Let's
I
finish
Yeah.
this one.
all right.
Yeah.
Guys have nothing else to say?
Nope.
All right, go
I'll
ahead.
be-
Peace. Thank you for watching. Oh, one thing, just follow the channel, guys. You know what they were talking about? If they're not sure about details on the spot, because there's so many damn tournaments that go on. If you follow this Twitch channel, all our Twitch channels, all our YouTube channels, and our Twitter channels, we never need to say anything ever again in terms of what's going on, because you'll know. How about that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Maybe have some cake as well.
We might.
Anyway, I'm
not
done.
Sure, I'm not sure about that. I'm laughing because I saw the chat and I'm like, I'm not sure if we can make that shirt. I don't know.
We promised it. It's gotta happen.
We said we can't. If we
You
can't
say
talk
we.
about it,
You say
can't-
we. It's not. No, not me.
the royal we.
The royal we, aka you.
What about French people? They say we a lot.
We. I don't know. We'll have to ask some of the French casters. How about that?
Canadians.
Whichever.
Is there any Canadian casters?
Nope.
Nope. Not
They're
yet.
too friendly for this game.
You're Canadian. There's a spot open in the ASB.
Yeah, and they'll just be like, "Sorry, mate. I don't want that one." I don't know. I don't know why I did it with an Australian. Like,
No, I didn't
and,
even.
and now I just like right when I try to do an Australian, I sound like
Oh.
Jebro. Like, hello, governor. How's it going tonight? No,
Oh,
that
God.
was Australian.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anymore. I'm so bad with those. Like, I could do a Childish Gambino impersonation, but that's not happening on stream at all.
Maybe
Anyway.
next time.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time. All right. Well, if you guys are done, I'm gonna go ahead and roll us out so that way I can go take a nap. Are we good here?
I'm gonna go lift weights. Yes, we're good here. Let's go.
All right, then I will see you,
Thank
chaps, in a bit. All right. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Cheers. No worries. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers for
Right, man.
doing it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right. So if we switch to me real quick. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for tonight. This will be uploaded to YouTube. If you want to see any of the silliness and count how many times we had to do cams, you can go ahead and do that. Not that I would really recommend it. So we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. EST Tuesday. That's 12 a.m. GMT for you Brits, so that way you guys know what's going on, you know, everything that's happening, blah, 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 etc., etc. So, I can still hear you guys. Never mind, they can't hear you. I can still hear you. Oh, that's strange. So yeah, tune in again next week about 7 p.m. EST Tuesday, and I think I might have VVV Storm on. He's been yelling at me a lot tonight. So, all right. With that, guys, I'm out. Have a good one. Drive safe. Yeah.
This episode of sPvP Update is brought to you by Mistpedia